really need a haircut. Hey yo guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to talk about Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. A game which its title is very deceiving, because I have died more times in this game than Sora can say darkness in any of the Kingdom Hearts games.
So many people already did this joke.
Yeah, the game is hard, and it also had a lot of controversy of how the game should respect their players and blah blah. But the game also has a lot of things that I really liked, and I don't see many people talking specifically about them. So today we're going to talk about how does Sekiro balance its difficulty. So, let's go. Also, I'm not going to spoil anything to the story. I'm just going to show like some bosses and stuff like that, because I don't want to be that guy to spoil the adventure for you. Other people can do that. I particularly don't want to be that guy. So yeah.
Yahoo!
Sekiro is the latest game developed by From Software, the developers behind Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne. Games well known for being super hard. But these guys not only make their games hard, but they also implement a lot of challenges, making the player go through hoops to get the satisfaction of killing that one boss that destroyed them over 24 times. Honestly, Sekiro is no different. Yeah, the game is still pretty hard, but it gives you a bunch of tools to be able to confront the challenges that you have up ahead. When it comes to the gameplay, Sekiro is really far from a Souls game. The character you play as is super fast and mobile. You can climb walls, hook your way around like a Japanese Spider-Man, and run super fast on the ground. The mobility in this game is key, but something that I really liked about the game was the set pieces. Big Japanese buildings, lush bamboo forests, and even a full battlefield. Those places look fantastic and made the exploration of every place a joy because of the hidden collectibles and treasure. Something that separates Sekiro from its brothers is actually the heavy use of stealth. It's the first lesson the game throws at you in the first minutes of the adventure, and it's okay. With the stealth mechanics, you can execute enemies while hiding and by getting the drop on them. This gameplay method reminded me of the old Assassin's Creed games, the one with Ezio. I like the simple stealth and combat mechanics, and Sekiro really gives me that same nostalgia. Sekiro's combat is an amalgamation of Souls games with hack and slash games. In this game, you have one button that does regular sword slashes, and holding that button does heavy attacks. A button that both deflects and blocks attacks, a special sword attack like this spin attack, and this Sorrow from One Piece attack. And finally, we have something that took the developers over 5 games to do. Pressing the X button to jump. I know it's super dumb, but I cried tears of joy while playing this game and jumping with a regular button instead of pressing the fucking joystick. The combat flows pretty well. Each battle feels super fast, it's responsive, but restrictive. For example, the game will be able to detect that you're spamming the R1 button, but it will delay the action of the circle button when you're trying to jump out of the way, encouraging a more thought out combat than just pressing buttons. With R2, you get the access to the prosthetic tools, which are weapons that do special attacks or have more attributes that you can do normally. Shurikens that do damage from a big distance, an axe that breaks shields and wood, a flame vent that lights oil on fire, and firecrackers that stagger enemies are some of the weapons that you can use in this game. These weapons are super fun and also are balanced by an ammunition system. To use them, you need these emblems to use these weapons. Some enemies drop them, or you can buy them at save points. Another completely different game mechanic that is new to this game is the posture meter. This kinda replaces the stamina meter, and yeah, you heard me right, you don't have a stamina meter in this game, and I love it. But what I like even more is the before mentioned posture meter. This mechanic is present in every enemy in the game, including both sub-bosses and main bosses. When the bar fills up, it means that your posture is broken. If it happens to the player, you will get staggered for a moment and unable to move. If it happens to enemies, you execute them. Oh, you heard me right. You execute them. Flat out. Dead. This reminded me of No More Heroes, where every time you depleted an enemy's health, you executed them, making each fight really rewarding. And let me remind you that this mechanic affects every enemy including bosses and sub-bosses. That's why I think this is more important than the vitality bar. You can execute bosses with half their vitality, which is unheard of in a FromSoft game. The bar gets filled up by attacking enemies that are blocking, deflecting attacks by blocking in the right moment, and avoiding attacks in certain ways. This mechanics makes every fight unique, and I love it. Also, when you execute somebody, the other enemies crap their pants and back out while you're gunning the enemy from inside out. While we're talking about avoiding attacks, this is another feature I think is amazing in Sekiro. Before talking about it, let me take you back to 2009 with Batman Arkham Asylum, which revolutionized the beat-em-up genre by adding indicators to the attacks of the enemies, which ones could you block or counter, and which ones you had to avoid. Well, Sekiro implements just that. When you play the game, some enemies will display some red markings on top of them before doing certain attacks. These attacks can be thrust or stab attacks, left sweep attacks, and grab attacks. These characters appear and then are followed by the enemy doing a wind up of that attacks, so you can effectively get out of the way or not. You see, these warnings can actually become opportunities. Aside from the grab attack, both the leg sweep and the stab attacks can be countered. The leg sweep attack can be countered by jumping the attack and pressing the jump button again. Sekiro will kick the guy in the face and do a lot of posture damage. And later in the game, you can get an upgrade that lets you counter stab attacks by dodging into them. Sekiro will step on the weapon of the enemy, causing a lot of posture damage or flat out executing them. In other games like this, you usually have to guess every attack an enemy does, also they telegraph it. So I'm glad they streamlined this aspect of the game, and don't get me wrong, that symbol appears for a mere second before the attack, so it doesn't make it any easier to dodge or react to. Well, on the topic of dodging and reacting, how about we talk about the bosses? And there will be really light spoilers, nothing to the story or nothing to other quests. This is just the boss fights, alright? Each boss and sub-boss has 2 health bars, and you need to execute them twice to be able to defeat them. And that's why the posture meter is so important. Some bosses are super hard, but others are substantially easy. For example, I felt that Horsey Boy here was a lot easier than Lady Butterfly, and that old hag was a lot easier than Thunder Boy. But they are nothing compared to the fat guy from Hirata State. This asshole whooped my ass more times than any other enemy in the game. And you have help from some dude there, and it still whooped my ass, come on! Bosses and sub-bosses give you rewards by defeating them. Killing a main boss gives you a strength upgrade, while killing 4 sub-bosses increases your vitality. So you can just avoid some sub-bosses if you don't feel like fighting, or be a man and get your ass handed to you by Shrek and Buffalo Bill. And finally, we got to the upgrades. Aside of the vitality and strength upgrades I just told you about, you get 4 types of upgrades. Passive ones, like being able to hold more ammo for the prosthetic tool. Permanent ones, like getting health back after executing an enemy. Special shinobi moves that I talked about earlier, you know, the spinny thing. And last but not least, the prosthetic upgrades, which gives every weapon a boost, like a spinning shuriken that does more posture damage, etc, etc. The upgrades are all optional, making the game easier or harder for the player. As you can see in this whole video, there are a bunch of mechanics that make the game easier. So in response of the month-old drama about if the game needs or not an easy mode, what I'm going to say is that the game will allow you to choose whether you want to play the game the way you want or just make it harder to you. I mean, the upgrades are one of the many choices the player can do in this game to either make the game easier or harder. So I don't think it needs an easy mode. I think the players have to go in there and experience the game as is. The game has a fixed difficulty for a reason. What I think that happened is that many people saw ninjas and said, oh, I want to do flippy anime shit while killing enemies without any repercussions. If you want to do that, there's a whole line of Ninja Gaiden games out there that are hack and slash and you feel super empowered. Or just play Devil May Cry 5. Why does it have to be a game about ninjas that piques your attention? It's a hard game and it should stay as a hard game. That's going to be enough from me for today, but I want to know what you guys think about the game in the comments below. Did you like it? Do you find it good? Do you find it really difficult? I really want to know. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do so here. Use this name in Twitter or Instagram to find me. And yeah, one of the reasons this video took so long is because I finally presented my thesis, which is super important because I'm graduating from university and it's super fun and it's super cool to have that. So yeah, the video took a little while to be out there, but it's okay, it's finally done. Thank you all guys for watching, have a fantastic night, and please, take care.